So let's do a short overview on adult development. Interestingly enough, um, it's a topic that's nearly forgotten in the field of psychology because we spend so much time focused on child development that we don't really talk too much about adult development. But in fact, in the last 30 or 40 years, this has become a fairly important topic, partly because people live so long. Some of the topics include the first reading in this course information on facts about adult cognition. The key factor here is that adults think differently than children, probably a shocking revelation. But part of it's based on the fact that they have so much more experience. There's also some information on the stages of grieving proposed by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who was a physician who worked with blind people in Chicago, and she describes 5 stages of dealing with loss, including a shock or surprise, denial, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Then, of course, there is the issue that affects a growing number of people in the United States and around the world, which include dementias, specifically Alzheimer's. We talk about in the course information. Dementias used to be called organic brain diseases back 20 and 30 years ago. Now we basically are looking at the behavioral, emotional, and cognitive changes that happen as the brain changes. They include especially Alzheimer's, but there are a whole host of organic brain diseases. Some of them affect cognition, some of them affect movement, some affect emotion, some affect motivation. Be sure to read that. I'll bet most of you know someone who has some type of dementia. There is an article on aging and how to slow it, including some emphasis on the anti-aging treatments. Sometimes you don't need to invest lots of money in anti-aging products as much as regular exercise, a healthy diet, not smoking, doing all those things that seem healthy, watching your intake of alcohol. And then, of course, there's the genetic component, which we have no control of. But there are epigenetic factors too. So people who have a history of cancers in their family should be aware of things that promote or extend cancers in a person's lifespan. There is a description of disengagement theory, which is one of the main theories of aging. In the disengagement theory, it states that aging is inevitable mutual withdrawal or disengagement that results in decreased interactions between aging persons and others in their social system. The theory claims that it's natural and acceptable for older adults to withdraw from society. There are lots of variations on including moral disengagement. This was developed by Cunningham and Henry in 1961 in a book called Growing Old. And since then, other scientists have developed ideas about this. This is important because this is really the first time that the field of gerontology came on the map. And of course, it's not met without its criticisms. There is another theory called activity theory. And activity theory is sort of an antidote to the disengagement theory. It's also known as implicit theory of aging, normal theory of aging, or lay theory of aging. It proposes that successful aging occurs when older adults stay active and maintain social interactions. It takes the view that aging process is delayed and the quality of life is enhanced when older people remain socially active, so you must stay active. This theory arose in opposition to a disengagement theory, and in the 1960s. It was a theory developed by Robert Havinghurst in 1961. Bernice Newgard in 1964 asserted that satisfaction in old age depends on active maintenance of personal relationships and endeavors. The theory assumes a positive relationship between activity and life satisfaction. One author suggests that activity enables older adults to adjust to retirement. Of course, there are critics of this. Interestingly enough, as an aside, when I was in graduate school, I was in the adult development program at Washington University, and actually published a study on the activity theory versus disengagement theory. If anyone's interested in reading it, let me know. And the last thing I wanted to mention is called the Baltimore Longitudinal Study. It was sponsored by the National Institute on Aging, or BLSA. It's America's longest running scientific study on aging, beginning in 1958, right around the same time as these other theories, when gerontology was in its infancy. Kind of an ironic twist of terms. It's world-renowned, having generated thousands of scientific papers and making contributions on the understanding of what it means to be older. It's sponsored by the U.S. government, and it's really worth reading, and of course there's a few questions on this as well. So that's a quick overview. And good luck.